This is a movement from the Welch clock. I've taken it out of the case, and as you can see, it has got huge amounts of oil on it. Been way over oiled. See it there? Over there. You can see it's built up over here with gunk on that pivot. It's even run down onto the hammer and to the bottom of the suspension spring. That pivot there is full of gunk also. Back doesn't seem to be too bad, though the winding armors, the gunk in the winding armors. That one there. Okay, well, we'll take this to pieces, put it through the ultrasonic, clean it up, and then we can see what we've got. First thing we'll do, we've got to clamp down the mainsprings. We get a couple of mainspring clamps. Check out what size we need. One's pretty close. We'll wind the strike side up first. Put our let down tool on it. Tighten it up. Turn it over. Put our clamp on it. And see if that's going to fit. It's actually not. That's a little bit too small. I think that is the same size. Yep. Okay, I'll have to get another clamp to put on it. I've got some mainspring clamps now. So we'll put the first one over the strike side. Squeeze it down. Reverse the movement. Put our let down tool on it. And then find where the click is on the spring. Pull that out a tiny little bit. Seriously spinning round. Then let the let down tool spin round in your hand until the force is taken up by the mainspring clamp. Nice and tight, good. Now wind the going side, and we'll put a clamp on it. Turn it over. Slide the clamp on. Okay. Find where the click spring is. That's dropped down, so Using the let down tool, we'll wind it up a fraction to take the pressure off the click and then let it wind down. Not all the way, because the mainspring clamp is not tight enough yet. Once again, whoop, drop down. Keep an eye on that. Wind it up, pull the click back, hold it, pull the clamp in so it's in the centre of the spring. It's now caught there, so we will continue to release the spring. There we have it. Both springs contained. So we can now start to take the movement to pieces. First we'll take off the suspension spring and the pallets. Do that little arm. Wind it out of the road. That arm there. Lift the suspension spring very gently. Don't want to break it. Oh, it's got full of oil too. It's come out. Now take the pallets off. Put that into the going train box. Right, now we'll loosen some nuts that hold the plate together. I'll see if I've got a big enough. I don't think it is. Nope. Nope. Have to use my little shifter. Loosen them up a bit. Seriously covered in oil. The center one. One's a bit tight. I think it's some time since this movement was last worked on. Loosen these top two. As always, remember there might be a little bit of tension from the springs running up through the trains. So we'll lift that out of the road. We'll lift the top plate off very slowly. We don't want wheels jumping out all over the floor. Take these nuts off. They are tight, gee. That's a bit better. Yuck. Oil everywhere. Okay. Now very carefully lift the top plate by pushing against the posts. Up to the top. Then lift the plate off. you can see all the gunk and oil that's built up on all those bushes, both sides of the plate. I reckon we've got some rebushing to do there. Escape wheel goes in the going side train. Now we'll take the rest of it to pieces. Where's my... There we go. First up, I'll put this wheel back where it belongs. So we can see what it looks like when we put it all back together again. See where the springs are? These little bits of wire here, put a bit of tension there and there on those levers. Right, I'll grab a photo of that, then we'll be ready to roll. We'll take the motion works out first. Put that aside. And the going train. Third wheel. Second wheel. First wheel. And the hammer. Now the two levers. First up, the lift lever. From there, take the fly out. The J hook. Both those fine brass springs wind round that post there in a clockwise movement to keep a little bit of pressure on the spring, keep a little bit of pressure on the levers. Okay. Whoop. Here we go. We're down to the springs, which we'll take off so we can put the main wheel into the ultrasonic. And grief. Strike side wheel. Look at the oil that's run off in my gloves. And there, all the way around the bottom of that pillar. I'll have to wipe that down before it goes in the ultrasonic. I've taken the parts out of the ultrasonic cleaner. They're certainly looking a lot better. Before I put them in, I wiped off the excess oil to give the cleaning fluid a better chance at cleaning them up. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Okay. We'll sort the movement out. Motion works. Undo those carefully. Strike train. The count wheel. And the fly on it. Going train. Right. And they're the clock nuts. They hold the plates together. In there. We'll now put the movement together and we'll check the bushes and the pivots and see if we need to do any rebushing. We'll put the motion works aside for the moment. We'll cut the wires that are holding all the parts together. Dispose of those. There, with a fly on top. Now the going side. Initially, we won't put the great wheels between the plates. The springs have been taken off, cleaned and greased, and they're waiting to go back in, but we'll leave them aside initially. It'll make it a lot easier to check the pivots if they're not there. There. Right, we'll start off with the going side train. First wheel. Second wheel. Down a little bit. And the third wheel, once we get that, the pinion mesh with the teeth. We'll leave the scape wheel out for the moment. We'll check these three first. Put the top plate on. Carefully push it down onto the posts. We'll put a nut on this bottom post to hold the movement together. Bit tight, but it'll do. Right. Now we'll put the pivots into the bushes, line up the post using a pair of tweezers. We'll put that up there, move the third wheel pivot in, hold it together, give it a spin. Right, now put another nut under the plate to hold it together, and we'll tighten it down so we can get a proper view of the, it goes over there, so we can get a good view of the way that the pivot is interacting with the bush. Shimming with this on, they're a bit, threads are a bit crappy. Okay, tighten them up a little bit. So tie it up. Okay, now we can have a closer look and see what rebushing we need to do. That one needs redoing, and that one, and that one. They're all pretty worn. Yep, they will all need redoing. You can see that pinion there moving, and the other ones, second wheel, is the same. Okay, so those three will have to be done. I'll take these wheels out off camera, then we'll look at the other ones. Second wheel, first wheel I mean, that post in, a bit out of whack, that's better. Second wheel, third wheel, and the fly. Hold it tightly. Give it a quick spin. Post is a bit bent, makes it a bit harder to align the plates. Second wheel, third wheel, fly. Now put some more nuts on and tighten them up. Then we can have a look a little bit. Are we all in? It's very tight. Back that off a bit. No in-play in that at all. Absolutely none. Second wheel's got end play. First wheel, almost none. Third wheel has got no end play. You can see it's staying in the same place, this wheel here. That's why it's so tight. Having bent plates doesn't help particularly either, I don't imagine. Or bent posts anyway. Put that back down into there. That's a little bit better. Tighten this action again. And this guy. Now they're running now, but there's still no end play. Tiny little bit in the third wheel. First wheel nothing. And tiny bit in the second. And a marginal bit in the fly. Well, they'll all have to be redone too. Right, so we'll start off pushing. Rid of that. Take that out. On the going side, we'll get those done first. Then we'll check back again and see how we're going. Right. I'll look at straightening those posts out a little bit also, they're pretty rough. Okay. The first wheel in again. Bent posts. Nice and free, but we saw before how sloppy that pinion is. Right, we'll start off with those two. I'll mark them so we know which one we're working on. That one. And the top plate. That one there. Right, I'll get set up for the bushing and then we'll be back. Right, let's get our first bushing underway. First thing we do, check our vernier to make sure it's set on 0. So we get an accurate measurement. Then we measure the diameter of the first pivot. 1.63 mil. Jot that down. Then we go to our box of bushings and read across. We want 1.63 mil. We got 1.60, 1.65. We'll have a look at the 1.65 mil. And we'll see that that is a little bit too big. 1.65 is the number 50, That's a number 50. Put the bush, palm of our hand, and then try to fit the pivot into it. You can see it fits in, so it's obviously too big. We'll put that back into our box. It's number 50. Make sure it goes into the right place. Number 50, we'll take it a number 49. That's 1.60. Try it again. Make sure we got the correct size. Pivot on it. Won't go in. That in there. Then read off the rest of the data on the box. The number 49. Its external diameter is 3.5 mil. Jot that down so we don't have to remember it. First we'll put our center finding tool into the bushing tool. Then put the plate on and align the hole, which is there. Bring the clamp up, tighten it down so it can't move. Exactly in the center. This one here won't help us, can't reach, so we'll have to make sure that we hold the plate when we're reaming it out. Remove the centering tool. We're looking for 3.50. I'll start with a 2.47 and then work up to the final size. Hold the plate so it doesn't move and turn the bushing tool. The reason I use a smaller reamer for a start, then go up to a secondary one and then finish with the final size is that it puts a lot less stress and torque on the finer, on the finer reamers. They're very prone to snapping if you use any strong force on them, and at $50 a time you don't want to do that too often. Miss that one. Hold the plate again, second reamer, clear any debris from the hole. Now the 3.47 mil reamer. And we'll ream the hole out till its final size. Remove the reamer. The next tool in, then pick up the bush, making sure The oil sink is facing outwards. Place it in the hole like so. Bring down the top of the tool and give it one short tap with a hammer to make sure it's fitting in correctly and not off to one side. Then another couple of taps, seats at home. Take the tool out, undo the clamp. And there we have the bush inserted. That has to be reamed out yet to the exact size to fit the pivot. There you can see the oil sink on the outside. Got the plate. Now we'll pick up the wheel and try to insert it into the hole, and it doesn't fit. So we're going to ream that out. So we've got to find a reamer for the correct size. So we start looking down here to see what we've got. Try them one at a time. No, it's too small. And that one's too small. I think this one will be too big. On the other hand, it's just right. Now we put the brooch into a pin vise, hold it tightly, pick up the plate and insert the end of the brooch into the plate. Now we must remember, when we're broaching a hole, it has to go through perpendicular to the plate. If it's off at an angle like that, exaggerated, then the pivot will not fit it. So it has to be 90 degrees all the way around. You can use the posts as a guide if you like, bearing in mind these are a little bit bent, so I'll have to be a bit careful. But looking at it on that plane, and on that one, right, we need the next size up. Which is that one. Brooch back into the pin vise again. Tighten him down. Back into the bush. Just a few turns, making sure that you're 90 degrees in all angles. Test the wheel. Just starting, but needs a tiny bit more. Back to the bush. Insert the brooch. Line it up. Get the correct orientation. Getting closer. Yes, it fits in. Now we'll do the bush on the top plate and then put together and then make any final adjustments, and then we'll check the end play. I'll do that, then come back, we'll have a look, see how it works, check the end play, and then I'll do the rest off camera to save us some time. This bushing has been replaced rather poorly. Right, same size. So we ream it out. And put another number 49 bush in its place. Clean the reamer off. First one. Hold the plate steady so it doesn't move. .47mm reamer, the final one. Cutting a nice clean hole. Right. Move that. Put in our hammer tool. Get our bush. Put it over the hole. Then level it out. Light tap with a hammer to make sure it's seated properly. We can see that it is. A couple more taps. Now it's in. Move that. And there, if we can get the right light, got him. That's our new bush that we're going to adjust. Once again we'll try, and it doesn't fit. Now we need a brooch of the correct size to broach it out. Once again, when we put the brooch in, it has to be perpendicular to the plate and at 90 degrees all the way round. Give that a try. Ooh, almost, but not quite. Tiny bit more. Just fits in. Right, we'll put the two plates together. Posts are a bit of a pain. Put a nut on it. Find the other post. Okay, it's in there. Now, you can see that's a bit tight, it's not spinning freely. And there's no end play in it. So we look at both ends, both pivots, and we can see down this end that pivot is not completely flush with this plate. So that is the bush that we'll have to take a tiny little bit more out of. Flip the plate off. Back to our brooch. Line it up again, just a couple of turns. Put the plates together again. Tighten another little bit. Line the posts. That one's way out. That one there goes to there. Right. Pin it into the bush. Align the plates. We can now see that it spins freely. And if you look sideways, the right angle, you will be able to see the end play moving front to back. That bush is now set up properly. It should spin for 15 to 20 seconds like that. Right, I'll finish the rest, then we'll come back and move into the next step. If you want to learn how to service, repair and restore 19th and 20th century mechanical clocks, then subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell.